Okay, guys. In last sessions, what we have discussed, we saw that so how to work with so table types, right? So basically, so three types, right? Permanent, transient, and temporary. So how to create a table types? So we saw that, and then so database and schemas also. So what is the difference? In a permanent, you will have a fail safe. In transient, you will not have fail-safe. Retention period will be 1 day. Here the temporary table, it is only applicable for session. Once you log out and log in, the temporary tables will be gone. Right? These are the things what we have done. Now, today we will see so how to work with retention time, retention, and how to implement time travel option. Time travel, this is very important feature in Snowflake. So this option is not available in so any of the so databases. Retention time and then time travel. So now let's see, so whatever the tables and then database and then schema, everything whatever we created, what is the default now? So we logged in now, so can you able to see what this temporary tables? No, we have a permanent, we have a transient, that's it. So you cannot see temporary tables, right? Now, so we'll see if you observe show tables, show tables. Observe this here in this particular tables. What is the retention time? One. Where we are in the DB transient, right? Now let's come to the our class and then public. Now we are in class and then public. Now if you observe the show tables, see this one. For all the tables, so is it a permanent, transient, or so temper, whatever it may be. What about the retention? By default, retention is 1 day. So this one by default retention is only 1 day we have, right? Suppose if you want to increase the retention time. So what is this retention time? Within that retention time, we can restore the data. That is the one feature. At the same time, so based on the retention time, the time travel depends. Time travel depends. So now let's see with the example. First, we will create a retention time. How many days we can able to go back and then we can see the data, kind of snapshot. So after that, so we'll see so how to work with a time travel. So now let's create retention time here. So for example, when you want to create a retention time, observe this one. Only this is if you want to increase the retention time, you can do it for only for a permanent tables, right? By default, so what is the retention time for transient and temporary? Only 1 day. Only 1 day. Now observe this. Generally, when you create a table, we will give up to here. Create table, table name, column names, and data types. That's it. But here, what is the extra we are giving? Data underscore retention underscore time in days. This is the syntax. Data underscore retention underscore time in days. Observe this. Here, what we are giving 90 days. 90 means this is always it will be in the days only. That you can observe the syntax also. Data retention time in days 90. It means when you create a table, this particular retention time will be 90 days. Observe this one. Now you can able to see that we have created a table. Now if you observe show tables here, show tables, see this one, you observe in show tables, see this retention one only, retention is one, and observe which table we created. Now retention is employee schema, retention is 90 days. See this one, retention period is 90 days here. For which table? The table which you have created now, employees table, right? Observe the date when the table is created. and then observe this. This is the retention time. Suppose, so what is maximum is 90 days, right? If you try to create so more than 90 days, what will happen? Let's say, so I will give 91 days. Observe this one. What is the error? Exceeded maximum allowed retention time 90. It means it will not allow you to give the retention time so maximum above 90 days. Only this is for permanent tables only. Only this is for permanent tables. After 90 days, you will have fail safe option. You will have fail safe option. Fail safe. This one will be 7 extra days available. When it is coming to the fail safe, right? As a Snowflake user, Snowflake developer or Snowflake admin, the Snowflake account admin, whatever it may be, you don't have any rights or you don't have any control on fail safe option. Remember this. It means if you observe here, come to the account, you can able to see here also average storage. See this one fail safe, right? This is we are talking about. This fail safe, what it will do is if it is a permanent table after your retention period time, if it is retention is 1 day also, after the retention period time for the permanent tables, 7 more days will be available in fail safe option. If you want anything, then what you can do is you need to request. If you want to get the data from the failsafe period, you need to request Snowflake support team. Snowflake support team. You don't have any control on the failsafe. Observe this one. We cannot able to configure the failsafe. Not possible. Only 7 days retention data available. Time travel expiration. So this is only accessible by Snowflake personals. Snowflake personal means Snowflake support team. And see this admins can view failsafe usage in Snowflake in UI. So account billing usage. What we are seeing now, the same thing. Account. So average usage. So here you can able to see the failsafe, right? With account admin role, right? So with other roles you cannot able to see. That is the main thing. And this failsafe is not supported for temporary and transient. It means nothing but so we are going to so have failsafe only for permanent table. That is the main intention. When failsafe will be there after your retention is completed. If you give retention period 90, after the 90 days, 7 more days will be available. If your retention is 1 day, so after 1 day, 7 more days will be available in a failsafe. That's why, so remember this one. In dev environment, in dev environment and in test environment, always you are going to maintain transient tables, transient tables. Because when you have a failsafe option, it will occupy a storage unnecessarily, right? And in production, in production, you will have so only permanent tables. Will have permanent tables. Got it right? So in a so dev one test, you will have a transient tables. In a production, you will have permanent tables. Okay, so this is just remember this when you are working in any project. So always dev environment, test environment, you will have transient tables. Okay, you will have production environment, you will have permanent tables. Okay, we'll come to this again. So now let's observe this. So what we are discussing, we created a so table retention time to 90 days. We tried more than 90 days, it is not working, right? Okay, this is fine. If you want to change the retention time, how you will do that? Now observe this one. You can alter the retention time. Alter table, alter table. table name, same employees, table name, set data retention time in days equal to 90. Then what will happen? Whatever the 90 days is available, so now this particular table retention is 90 days. So it will change it to 30. Now observe this. Now the data retention time is changed to 30. Now remember one thing, this data retention time will be calculated from the date of table creation, from the time of table creation. Now when the table is created, see this one, you can able to see it here, right? When we have created a table, today we created a table at this time. From this particular date, so of time, so this particular, so time creation of the table, this particular time it will consider, based on this retention time will be applicable from the start date. Okay, that of the table creation, that is one thing. Now let's come to this another one. If you suppose, so if you create retention time period for database, so then for example, it means you have a database. In this database, if you have retention period of 90 days, just a minute.
Sir, we cannot able to hear you.
Is it for everyone? No,
Now I
enable.
can hear.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Okay, so what we are discussing is, so we are discussing about the table retention. So time, how to create a retention time here. So now when you observe this, so we are going to so create this retention time based on only 90 days, not more than that. Now here, suppose if you create a retention period for, so let's say for example, so uh, database is 90 days. Within the database, whatever you are going to create, it will be same. For example, 30 days. Sorry, schema. Within this, if you create anything, schema, it will be 30 days. And if you create, same 90 days will be applicable. 90 days. For tables, if you create any tables, this is also applicable 90 days because it will inherit the property from the database, right? The same way, so if your schema retention period is 50 days, let's assume 50 days. Now within the schema, whatever the tables you are going to create, for all the tables, retention period is also 50 days because the tables will be available in this schema, right? Now, if you come here, see this one. When you come here, so create or replace schema retention, what you are doing, retention time in days 90. Now we are creating a new schema, data retention period. So you can give 90, 50 or 30, whatever it may be. Okay. Now when you are creating this retention time, observe what is happening. We created the retention time and then you can able to refresh it. Now you can able to see how many schemas we have. See this retention schema also. Now it's connected to so retention schema. Suppose if you create any table here, see this one. If you create any table here, now we are in under this schema. If you create any table, What will happen? Are we mentioning any data retention time in days? No. See this one? Data retention time in days means nothing but retention time. If you don't mention, but what is the retention time for this particular schema? 90 days, right? Now we created a table under this retention schema. We have a table. Now if you observe, show tables. Now see this one. What we can see is based on creation date in retention schema. In this table, retention is 90 days, right? Did you mention any retention period here? No. But how it is applicable? Because the schema retention time we have given at say 90. Suppose if you change the retention for this schema, let's say for example, so from 90 to, if you do changes for any other thing, so let's say, observe this. Okay, what we are doing, so for this particular retention time, for this retention schema, we are changing data retention time in days to 55. We are altering, right? It means nothing but we are modifying that retention change, retention time period. Now we modified for, so retention time period for 55, right? 55 days. We have altered. Now what will happen here for the table? This table, if you observe, the same will be applicable. See this one, same is has been changed, right? This is the retention time period, right? Okay. So this retention time period, how it will depend on time travel, how we are going to implement a time travel. So how we can able to so get the snapshot of the tables based on this retention time. Now let's say if you observe, for example, sorry, we'll create a table here and then we will insert some data. Observe this. Within this, where we are in this particular schema, no need to mention any retention time. By default, how many days? 55 days will be applicable for this table also, right? We created a table. We created a table and we are going to insert the data into this particular table. Which table? Employees new table. In employees new table, what is the retention time? Observe, observe this. In employees new table, this is the table name, and then observe. So what is the time? Retention time 55 days, because for this particular schema, retention is 55. That's why when we create this particular table also, retention time is 55. Now let's insert some data into this table. Observe this, what we are doing. We are inserting some data into this table. Okay. Now let's see how the time travel will be applicable on this particular table. So based on one example, suppose this is your table, right? If you check the data in this table, select star from, for example, go to this one. This is the table name. And then when you check the data, you can able to see all the records, right? Now what we will do is, let's assume that in first scenario, so what we are going to do is, okay, so delete from, this is a table, this particular table where emp employee id, I will take this column, employee id equal to some value, I will take some 3. Okay, now deleted. What will happen? One record deleted, right? This is the first scenario. Assume that first day. Now next day, so if you check the data here, that record will be deleted, right? Employee ID 3. So this one, it is not available. Okay. In the next day, what we will do is, I will update this particular table, salary. Let's take salary. Mine will be set salary equal to 9999. Okay, I'm taking all nines, where same salary equal to will take 10,000. What we have done? We have updated one record with this salary. Now check the data in the table. Now if you check the data in the table, see this one, this particular salary has been updated, right? Okay. This is, let's assume that this is second day. Okay. And again, so next day, I am going to delete from same table, where ID equal to, sorry, employee ID. Employee ID I will take, employee ID equal to 73. Okay, I will take this one. I will take this ID 73. What we have done? We have removed one more record. If you check the data in the table, see this is your records. So we have deleted one more record, and then totally two records deleted, one record has been updated, right? This is, let's assume that third day. Okay, just try to understand this scenario. Very important feature this is. Now again, what we'll do, another next day, we are going to insert into this. We'll take 6 then all sixes. Okay, and then this one also. Now and then another one, right? Okay, now when you run this, two records, right? Two records now inserted. Now check the data in the table, what we have done. So in the next we have, sorry, copy that, otherwise I will inserted two records here in the, let's assume that fourth day, right? When you check the data here in the table, observe this is your, so data, right? Two records has been inserted, these two. And again the next, so I'm going to update some salary for this particular record. Observe this. Next we will take the same thing, update. So table set salary equal to, we will take some all ones, where salary equal to some 40,000. We'll take this one. Okay, wherever 40,000 is there, so we have updating salary with, so this particular 1111. Now it is updated. This is another day, right? Let's assume that every day we are doing. Now if you check the data, final data in the table, see this one, after, so all this you can able to see the data. Okay, now whatever the data you are seeing here, this one, this is the data you are seeing after implementation of all these transactions, right? You have deleted some entries, you have inserted some data, you have updated some records, again we have deleted, we have updated, right? All these transactions is happening on this particular table. Now if you check your data here, it will be after all the above transactions, right? Let's assume that each and everything is one day. Okay, in this particular situation, our requirement is, our time travel, what it will do is, I want to go back and then I want to check before this particular transaction you have implemented on the table, how the data looks like in the table, in this particular table. Understand, right? Now I want to know when that this particular table has been created, when that particular table has been created, so how the data looks like when you insert the data into the table initial phase, right? Before all these things is done. And so before particular exact this update happened, so how the data looks like in the table, you want to see that, you want to see that particular snapshot, right? These particular things we will call it as time travel option. There are three options. One is offset, offset method. Another one is we can use timestamp. Another one is we can use query ID, or we will call it as a job ID. Based on these three options, we can able to go back to the time travel. It means let's assume that every so one so option you are doing in one day, right? You if your time travel is so greater than 5 days or 10 days or 30 days, whatever it may be, you can travel up to those many days, right? You can able to check the data. For example, you are in fifth day, your time travel is only 4 days. When the table is created, so 6 days or 7 days before, you can go back only 4 days if your time, or 5 days if your time travel is 5 days. So first initial 2 days, you cannot able to see what happened there, right? So now let's see so how the offset will work, how we can able to implement time travel here. So what we can do is, if you want to see the current timestamp, let's observe this. Come here. What we are doing is set current timestamp. So just to select the current timestamp, if you observe, this is the default timestamp, right? If you want to see that in UTC time zone, just observe this. This is time zone has set. That is a universal time zone we will take. This is the timestamp. Let me note down the timestamp here. Sorry. This is the timestamp, right? Okay, fine. This is the timestamp format. Now, if you want to go offset, it means you want to check 5 minutes before how the data looks like. 5 minutes before how the data looks like. We have a offset option. This is the syntax. See this? Offset, select star from table. What is the table name? Employees new. This is the table, right? This is the table. At offset, this is the syntax. This is syntax, and minus 60. This is in a seconds. And so this is if you want to go back and then see how the data looks like 5 minutes before. See this one in this particular table. In this particular table, if you check the data, how the data is available. See this one. This is the data after all the things updated, right? Now let me check this particular thing offset. I will come to the new worksheet. Let's connect it to the which schema it is, public schema. Connected to public schema. Now connected. Now observe this offset, this one 5 minutes before, minus 60 seconds into 5 minutes before. 5 minutes before how the data looks like, how many records we have. And so what about the data here? See this one 5 minutes before. For example, 10 minutes before. See this. What happened 10 minutes before? How many records we have? 8 records. See this data. It's not updated, right? This is 10 minutes before. But current data, so how the data looks like in this? See this one, double one, double one, and then so these records is available here, right? Now, so let's say if you want to go back 15 minutes before, observe this, what it is telling. At that particular period of time, the table itself not created. See this one, time travel period is beyond the so object creation date, right? Object creation time. Now when the table is created, let's check 14 minutes before, not created. 13 minutes before, 12 minutes before. Yeah, observe this one, 12 minutes before, how the table looks like. We have a structure. We have a structure, right? But still we can able to see the data in the table. This is fine. We can able to see what is the current state of this particular table. For example, in bank statement we have given an example, right? In a bank account, anytime you can go and then you can check your current balance, right? Current available balance. If you want to check 4 days before your available balance, what you will do? You will go to the bank statement and then you will check at that particular day. So how, what is the current available balance? If you want to check 1 month before, what is your available balance? What you will do, 1 month before statement, you will go and then you will check that specific day, what is the available balance, right? Same way here, you are going back and then checking. So what is the data at that particular period of time? Nothing but a snapshot. See this, 12 minutes before we have a empty table. Suppose that I mean 13 minutes before, sorry, 11 minutes before. Now the data came into the picture. This is your original data, right? How many records? So we have 7 records around. Now, so 10 minutes before, if you go, you can go 6 records. We have deleted some records here, right? After that, so 9 minutes, we have done some changes, right? 8 minutes. See this, the I record has been updated with the salary, right? So these updates we have done, right? Like this, we can go back and then we can check during that particular time period of time. This is applicable. If it is near within the day, you can use offset time. Suppose 2 days before I want to check, or 3 days before, what you can do is you can use so timestamp option. We can use timestamp option. How to use that? Now observe this one. Timestamp. This is the timestamp option. If you want to go back and then you want to check some days before or any specific time, so you can go and then what is the current timestamp we have so picked. This is the timestamp. Now the same timestamp we will give. See this one. This is the syntax. What you are telling, select the data from this particular table before this particular timestamp. See this one, before this particular timestamp. So before this particular timestamp, if you check, see this one, this is the data. Now let's change the time. So 20, 30 minutes, 20 minutes before. See this one, not created. 25 minutes before, this is the data, right? And 23 minutes, all are same. But when you are going to use timestamp, if it is more than 1 day, right? You want to, if your time travel is 90 days or 30 days, 50 days, you want to go back and check 10 days before, then best option is you can use a timestamp. You can use timestamp option. So this timestamp, you are going to mention the date and then you are going to mention the time. At that particular time, how the data looks like in the table, it will give it to us. That is the main intention behind a time travel. Okay. Now what we have done, so we are going to use, if it is a offset like half an hour before, 1 hour before, you can use offset option. If it is days, then we are going to use a time stamp option. Now we have another option by using query ID. By using query ID or job ID, it means when you will go, this is if you know exactly the query what you have executed here. Now these are the queries we have executed. It means these are the so implementations we have done on the table changes, right? Exactly, I want to see the data before this particular statement executed. I have inserted to 4 records, suppose. So 2 records here we have inserted, right? Before inserting these 2 records, how the data looks like in the table exactly for this particular implementation, before this implementation. Exactly before this implementation, before you am deleting so this particular record, particular ID from the table how the data looks like in the table, right? So before updating this particular record, so how the data looks like in the table, we can able to go back and then we can see based on this particular so option. So this particular thing we can go by using query ID or job ID. Now let's observe this, how we can able to do that. Before that, we need to know exact query ID. Which query ID we have to check, and then we have to see the data before that particular query ID. Now you can come to this, and so query ID. First, if you want to know the query ID, what you have to do? Come to account history, sorry, history option, not account, history option. When you come to the history option, you can able to see the query IDs for each and every execution. See this one. Always remember, whatever the query we are executing here, for each and every query, for each and every statement, you will have query ID in your history. See this one. This is always query ID is unique. Let me refresh it here. Refresh. Always you can able to see this query ID is unique. See this one, what is the execution we implemented, and observe the query ID. Everything it will be unique. See this one, all these other select statements. Now little scroll down, you can able to see update, alter. See this one, update statement. See this one, alter statement, right? Delete statement. We have deleted this particular ID. We have updated salary here. And so where we have inserted this data here, right? Before this query ID, if I want to see before inserting data into this table, how the data looks like, it's a empty data, right? This is the query ID for that. Now let's come here and then copy that query ID, and syntax will be, what you will do is, by using the query ID, we can able to go back and then we can able to check the data. Now observe this one, same syntax. What is the table name? This is the table name. Select star from this particular table before statement. Before statement. Here it is a timestamp. Here it is a statement. Before statement, what is the ID here? Query ID. This is query ID, or we can call it as a job ID also. Don't get confused here. Query ID or job ID. What we are telling here, before this query ID execution, in this particular table, how the data looks like. See this one, before this statement, here before the timestamp, here at offset, right? Now observe this one. When you run this, there is no data. We don't have any data here. We don't have any data. Now let's come to this one. For example, okay, let's say we will take another query ID, come to the history. Now we have done inserted, where we have inserted this one, right? Okay, now we have done, after that, insert into, we will see somewhere updated. Okay, this one we have updated, right? And then this one we have deleted. Okay, before this particular delete or before this update, anything. So if you want to see, copy the query ID, copy this query ID, come here. When you are doing this, you need to know the query ID. Now, one more thing we are going to discuss here, important topic. Now, observe this. You can able to see that. What you are using now? You are using query ID. Before this query ID, you can able to see how the data looks like in the table. This is fine. But whatever you are seeing in the history, right? These query IDs, this one will be available only in history up to 14 days. Past 14 days only you can able to see this transaction history in your history option. Only 14 days. 14 days is the benchmark here. For the stage files also we discuss, right? Whatever the file we are going to keep it in a stages, it will be available for 14 days. Here in the history also, it will be available for only recent 14 days. Okay. But if it is more than 14 days, then what you will do? Query ID, we cannot able to get. You have to must and should you have to use timestamp option. Timestamp option, there is no limit. You can go to any specific day, but it should be within that retention period. Within that retention period, if the table is having 50 days retention period, you can go back till 50 days. If the table is having only 10 days retention period, you can go back and then check only 10 days retention period, not more than that. If it is 5 days, only 5 days. If it is 1 day, only 1 day you can able to check. Before that, you cannot able to use. Only 1 day you can able to go back and then you can see the data. This is the kind of snapshot how we can see, and at the same time, based on this we can restore the table, right? So we can see, so your data here, see this one. If you observe when I run this, what is the purpose of this? So now, so if you check, this is your original data in your table, right? This is our now data, how it looks like in the table. Now I want to compare this so with before this particular timestamp execution or before this query execution, how the data looks like I want to see. Now before that statement, you can able to see this data, right? ID, employee ID 8, and then salary 40,000. Now, if you compare the data here in the table, what happened? Employee ID 8. So this salary has been double one. So once, all the ones. It means you can able to understand. So this is the change when you compare with this particular before this statement. Before this statement, this is the data. After the statement, this is the data, right? So like this, you can able to compare. So with you can able to restore this particular data in particular timestamp, right? And you make a snapshot, and then we can able to compare all. Suppose you want actual data, what is available here. So this particular thing, I want to create a new table. I want to restore a table, right? 5 days before, how the table looks like, I want to restore. Then what you can do, create, we can use create table, for example, new restore. You can give any name, restore as. See this one, as. What you are going to do, we are going to use select star from this particular thing. Now observe this one. What happened? New restore table has been created. Now if you check the data here, now let's observe restore table create. How many records? 7 records. Here 8 records. See this? So we have another table to compare. You can able to see the data here, right? This is the data. So this data belongs to before this particular timestamp, right? How the data looks like. And then this data belongs to after all the changes implemented on the table. Now this is your current data, how it looks like. This is your past data, how it looks like. The same way, you can able to create a restore table 1 month before based on retention time up to 30 days. This is only applicable for permanent tables only, right? Only permanent tables. What about the transient? You can go back for only 1 day in a transient table, not more than that. If you observe, we have a transient table. By default, you can able to do it for 1 day. Your retention time is only 1 day here. You cannot able to go back more than 1 day in a transient table. In transient table. So retention, so and then failsafe will not be available for the transient, right? So if you want to increase the retention, always you need to work with a permanent table. On the permanent table only you are going to apply your so time travel options. Most of the time we have three options. One is offset, another one is timestamp, another one is query ID. Based on this, anytime you can go back and then you can check the data based on within that retention period. Within that retention. Now on this table, how many days we have retention period? If you observe, show tables. Show tables, is it around 50 or 55? Observe this one, 55. Let me creation date. 55 days retention period. It means, so from today, if you've done 55 days, the changes till 55 days, you can go back to 55 days before, and then you can able to check the data by the table creation date. This is about retention, how we can able to work with a retention. And there is another option called cloning. That is where so also very so important feature in Snowflake. We will discuss that in the so next session. Okay, so we'll so split. So any questions here, anyone?
Sir,
Yes, Lakshmi.
if the retention period is expired,
Hmm.
uh,
Okay.
only 1 day is remaining, then we
Hmm.
extend the retention period, or is it possible?
Retention period will not expire. It will kind of time travel. Suppose, okay, I will give you example. That's why I take an example of a bank statement. In your bank account, you will have you can able to see your data, you can able to see your transactions 30 days. It means, is it going to expire any particular day? You can go back and then you can check 30 days, right? It means your limitation is only 30 days only. You can go back and then you can check, not more than that. Understand, right?
So it is already
It is
preset.
already, it will set it. So then it will time travel with the date, along with the date. Suppose if you observe, you can able to see the, just a minute, can you able to see the this one, the
Yeah.
calendar here, right? Suppose we are in 6th, right? You created a table, you set the time travel for 1 week, 7 days, let's assume that. Now in the next week you are on 19th. When you are on 19th, how many days you set the time travel? 7 days, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Up to 7 days you can time travel. Before that you cannot possible. Again, you are on 20th, let's assume. Again, back always 7 days. 1, 2, 3, 4,
13.
5, 6, 7. Next again, you are in 21st. How many days you can go back and then check? 7 days. Again up to 14. So it is traveling with your date. Understand, right? Traveling with you.
Okay.
So the time travel. What is the time travel we set up? Okay. Any other questions? What is the
Sir,
main intention here? To restore the data. Yes, Sunanya.
Sunana. Yeah. In the offset method, you wrote in the syntax as minus 60 times
Exactly.
5.
It means
Okay.
minus 60 is seconds, and then multiply by 8 means 8 minutes, right?
8 minutes. Yeah.
It is
Okay.
going back, right? That's why we have minus 60 here.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. So by using the time travel, we can go back and then we can check the data at any period of time, and then we can restore the data also for any period of time, but within that retention period. That is the limitation. And this is only we will do it for permanent tables only, not for the we will not do in when you are working in a project, we are not going to implement this for transient or temporary. Okay. Just try to implement this. Okay, if you have any questions, so we'll discuss again. Okay, if you don't have any questions, so we'll wind up. Thank you guys, see you tomorrow. Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
yeah, thank you all.